Hello. Uh, Today we have Friday and we go with WinCC V7 and SQL. I need to share my screen. Mm, Okay. You can comment this video so I can see your comments, and on the finish of this live we can talk about your suggestions and questions. Okay, I have my virtual machine ready. In last Friday, we did the first steps with SQL as examples. Today we go with next. Today I want to show you how to make the insert data with script. So you can insert data every 1 minute or 1 seconds into SQL. And after this, we go with next examples. As you remember, we have the insert option, and we insert data from these three IO fields. Let's open Microsoft SQL Management Studio. Do you hear me good, or I have problems with my voice? You can comment below. Okay, we have database, we have the test database with test table. This table has some values. When we make the select option, we see the values inside. Let's make the runtime. Okay, we have a lot of values inside our table, so we can make one simple script for delete all these elements. So we can make the next button, and this button will make the delete option. In SQL, we have option to delete this with just delete from table. So we can make the okay, my runtime is starting. I need to wait a bit. Okay, application is started, and we have our SQL. Okay, let's make our query. This query is this what I doing to execute, because my comment text is the query, and after my object is executing this, it will execute string inside my query. Okay, I need to comment this. And now we go to delete. And if you know how to use SQL commands, you need to know that delete everything from, and our table is table 1. So after we put this button, we should have all data delete from our table. As you see, my table is full, and I will run this window, and I will run delete. So when I open SQL Management Studio, oh, it doesn't work. I need to check why. Delete. I will show you in next slide how to diagnose this kind of problems in SQL and WinCC. So we know exactly what goes wrong or what's going under our script. So every time we push this button, we know that WinCC is running this kind of query into SQL. Okay, as you see, I delete all from my table and I have ready table to make more options. Let's go back to script that is running every 1 minute, and this script is inserting data, for example the media reports, for example the water and power, and we can put this data into our table, into SQL. We have our insert, and this insert we can copy and paste into, for example, the static text. Static text, and if we put in static text the properties, for example, the font, and we have the text. Under text, we can put the dynamic. In dynamic, we can put dynamic dialog, C action, Visual Basic Script action, tag, or animation. I want to put the Visual Basic Script, so I paste this into my static text. And this static text is refreshing with window cycle. Window cycle, we can check that update cycle is 2 seconds, but we can put, for example, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, or just select user cycle, what we prefer for our cycle. Anytime we can manage more user cycles, but for us, for now, we have enough to make our test. So let's go back to update cycle. Let's put 1 minute. So every 1 minute, all object on this screen is refreshing, it's updating. So our script on the text, the static text, is refreshing also. So when I run this window, I should have new values inside my SQL every 1 minute. Let's go to SQL. Oh, I see I have many zero. But what in case I put here some value? You see, the values are going into my SQL, but I don't remember exactly, but I should have also the update cycle here, but it doesn't work here. Okay, so we can put, for example, the some slider. I don't see slider. Oh, I see slider. And this slider will be, for example, the water. Second slider will be the, for example, air. And values can be done by control properties, and in here the range max is 1000, and for example the air is only 1200. And I put the output flow to value will be the air, so the position is here, and the position, the flow 1 value. I'm doing everything live, so it's not so easy to programming on live session, but I hope you understand everything. And now I can make the slider that's changing my values, you see? And my script is running, so I can check the SQL. You see the values. Under here we have the new values from the water consumption and the air consumption. It's everything running. Okay, you say, I don't want to put this kind of script on window. It's not so nice. I want to put this kind of script in action. This special script for WinCC. Okay, let's make this. So we go to Object Properties, Font, and we change the script under this element. So I copy this, I will make the comment, so this script doesn't running. Let's refresh this window, and let's say my values now is 1200. Let's go to SQL. We don't have this kind of values, so my script is stopped. I can delete all, and I don't have any new value inside my SQL table. Now let's create one action that we can set up in different way. In global script, we have some possibilities, and we have the Visual Basic Script editor. Inside here, we have the actions. This action is really nice, so we can put action on trigger, for example, every Friday I want to make something, or every startup of system I want to make something once. Let's go to actions, and I want to make the new action. I will paste my script that's inserting data into table 1, where I have some consumption of water and, for example, the air consumption, and how to manage this script that should work every 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Let's make this consumption. Okay. our script action is ready. As you see, I don't have the clock in my consumption.back. We need to set up this. In info trigger, we can set up this. In trigger, we can put some of elements. We can make this acyclic, so we can make this once where we want. For example, we want to make something, for example, the blog application in 3 months. We can make this in here. We can make this cyclic, so we can make the something hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly. So every year we want to put some new value into our SQL database. Trigger name, let's say it's SQL 5 seconds. And we can apply. Let's apply this. We can put also the tag. So every time we change the values of tag, for example, the binary tag from PLC, we can make the insert data into SQL table. It's nice. So if you work with PLC, you can make everything in PLC, prepare data for water consumption, air consumption, and put one trigger every time you want. Not 5 seconds, not when something uh, doesn't have the status on. So you can run this every time you want. But let's make this time the 5 seconds. So every 5 seconds we have the new value inside our SQL table. Okay, let's save this. And let's close the runtime, because sometimes we need to make the okay, my virtual machine is dead now. I need to check what happened. Sorry for this. I don't know what happened. What happened here? Okay, I need to restart my machine because I see it doesn't work. Okay, let's make a 50 seconds of break. We will go back in Zoom. Uh, Okay. Do you like this kind of live streaming with programming, or it's better to prepare you the option step by step as I did before? Because I wanted to try the live sessions because everyone is saying live is best. What do you think about this? Okay, so it's better to prepare the options 5 minutes the video and make the video ready, yeah, or or not the live sessions. Okay, my virtual machine is up again, and we can check our action script. And we go also to SQL Management Studio, so we see the result of our script is running. So now we did the solution to insert data every 5 seconds with, for example, the floating point values with water air consumption into our database table. And we have the test table. And let's open our table 1. Okay, as you see, we have a lot of values inside our table. And as you see, the values coming. Okay, let's close this action, and I will make you something next. So we know until now how to connect WinCC V7 into SQL server. How to connect and disconnect. It's first live, and you know this. The second one, you know how to insert data with one button. So you know how to write data into our SQL table and make this correct. The third option, you know how to delete everything with next button. For example, you want to clear the history, and you know how to make this. And for more advanced option, you know how to make the action with special cycle, for example, 5 seconds, 1 minute, and so on, to write data to our table. So you can prepare the option to report some data into your SQL table, and you know how to make this. Okay, we know how to write this data, but what in case we want to read data, for example, from our table? Because we want to display the value from our table to show something. Okay, to show something. Let's go to my screen, Graphic Designer, and we go to SQL examples. Now, I want to show you how to read data from our table. Oh, I hope you will like this too. And yeah, let's make this. So let's create one more button, and this button is read data. For read data, we, for example, have the option in SQL Server, the select option. So if you want to select some data from SQL, you want to use the select something from table, and this query should show you some values. But let's go to SQL and let's check this, because we are doing it here. So we have the select top 1000 element from our table. So if we put the same select into our script, let's make this here. Okay, we need to delete these enters. Okay, so we have select 1000 element, ID, value, value, value from our table. So let's check the syntax error. Let's run this. And let's put read data. Okay, we read this data from SQL. We don't have any errors here on diagnostic window, but we need to show this data in some elements, in, for example, the IO field or the message box or anything. Okay, so let's make this read data script, but we need to put some, for example, the IO field, where we put the value from our select. So we select the values and we write this data into IO fields. So let's say my IO field, this one, or maybe let's make the all IO fields I used before. I will use also here. No, let's make the message box. It's the easiest way. So after we put the message box, we will know that our data is displaying. Message box will display the box on our screen with values. So inside this, we need to put special, how to say it, Okay, sound different. Select option is displaying for us, for example, we have here the 69 elements after our select. So we need also the object to display all these elements. So first of all, we need to prepare the object to read this data into from our select. Oh, it's hard to show you, but let's say I will make this comment and you will see. Okay, we need the records object, and this records object we need to, for example, make this here, because without this we have errors. This records object we need to create. So we create the object, and the records object should be the record set. So we open bracket and we why it's too much. And this ADODB, it's database, and we have the record set option. And this records object can read all these elements into this records table. It's matrix. Okay, so now we want to make this is the result of this execution. So we write elements from this execution. So we have, as you saw, 69 elements. And these 69 elements we write into records object. I hope you understand me now. It's hard to try to say you how to make this, but step by step. And now we want to display one field from this records object. So we put the records object dot, and after dot we have the fields, and fields inside our database we have like this. For example, the value 1. The field is value 1, and from this field I want to read the value. Okay, let's check the syntax. We don't have any errors. Let's run this window and we make the read data. Read data is 1000 because system read for us the first value. If we put, for example, the not value 1 but ID, so every one row has one special ID. So I can run this again. And we read data. We see it's 139. And in SQL, we have the ID 139. Okay, it's one value. But what in case we want to read more? Okay, we can make more. Let's make like here. It's ID. And now we have the records object, and records object have the possibility to say I want to read the first. So I read the first value. After this, I want to records object make the next. And records object next. Let's make the syntax check. So if you see this kind of script, you have the records object, you read the first record from this, we display the value from ID field, you move your index to next, you display the value from field ID, and again and again and again. Okay, it's still simple way to display this data. Okay, we have 139. Okay. Okay, it's not next, is move next. I did the mistake. Move next. And again. Now we have 140, 140, 141. Okay, so now we have the possibility to read all these elements. You see, all these elements I read into my object table inside WinCC, and after this I display field by field that I want. So let's make one more example. I want to select something, and for example where value 1 is, for example, less than, I don't remember the values inside. Let's say less than 1000. So we don't display again this IDs, this one. We want to display, for example, this one. And we make the OK. We run this script. After I put, I have 167, 167, 168, and 169. Okay, so we read data from our table. We can also read data and write this data into our IO fields. So we have the water consumption. Water consumption is, for example, the flow 1 value. And air consumption is what? Oh, I have to So I can make not MsgBox, I can make the Jaime runtime tag dot write, and in bracket we have the records object field value 1. And let's so my flow second value should have the value from, okay, let's make the second, and flow 1, okay, let's make this different, 2, 1. Okay, so we move the first records line and we write this value into flow 1 value and flow 2 value. And we want to have the values that it's not 0. So where and value second, let's say end, is also not 0. Let's check this. Let's run this again and we make the read data. As you see, my IO fields changed the values. Let's make one more test how it's working. Let's say my value 1 is 999, value second is 222, and I have 888 and 111. I have some values, and in my read data script I want to select data where my value 1 is higher than, let's say, 888, is higher than 888, and value 1 1000. So what should I have inside my value 1? I should have the 999 value. Let's make the runtime and let's make the read data. As you see, my IO field is 999. Of course, in select option, you have a lot of possibilities to select the max value from this table. You can select everything like in SQL. In SQL tutorials, you have a lot of information about how to use the select option. And from today's live, you know how to manage SQL with WinCC V7 by these simple scripts. Okay, I think for today we are ready to finish. If you have some question, I can answer now. Thank you, Adrian. I hope you like this kind of videos, so I can make this more and more for you guys. Also, thank you for your video on email, so I know you made this with me step by step. Okay, so if you don't have any questions, you can, of course, send me by email. And of course, I invite you to myscadaworld.com, and you can get a lot of nice value on your email, one by week, and it's not a spam, it's special content for my subscribers. Thank you that you was online, and see you next time. Bye.